The wolf warriors of the north. Did you know the Vikings had warriors even more terrifying than beserkers? They were called the Ulfhednar, the wolf coats. These were no ordinary raiders. They were Odin's chosen shock troops, men who wrapped themselves in wolf pelts, entered battle trances, and believed they carried the spirit of the wolf into war. While beserkers were famed for their bear-like frenzy, the Ulfhednar fought with the cunning and coordination of a wolf pack. They were Harold Fairhair's elite, his champions, and they struck fear into enemies across the north. The most famous moment of the Ulfhednar came at the Battle of Hafrsfjord, around the year 872. This clash was no small raid. It was a war for the very soul of Norway. King Harold Fairhair sought to unite the fractured chieftains and jarls under one crown. His rivals gathered a massive fleet, determined to crush him before he could seize power. The fjord echoed with the creaking of ships, the slap of oars, and the crash of shields as warriors formed their battle lines. Across the water, Harold's men tightened their ranks, but at the very front stood his Ulfhednar. Clad in wolf skins, their eyes glimmered with a strange fire. They began to howl, long and piercing, the sound bouncing from cliff to cliff. Imagine standing on the opposite side, shield in hand, heart pounding, when suddenly the men before you drop to all fours, biting their shields like beasts, their bodies trembling as if possessed. The sagas tell us they had been touched by Odin's fury. Some say through chance, others through intoxicating brews or hallucinogens. Whatever the cause, they looked less like men and more like creatures of nightmare. When the horns of war sounded, it was the Ulfhednar who surged first. They struck like wolves on the hunt, darting forward, breaking shields, then pulling back before counterstrikes could land. Spears splintered against them, swords bounced from their fury, and witnesses swore that no iron could pierce their skin. Whether truth or exaggeration, one fact remained: the sight of them shattered morale. As the enemy wavered under this relentless assault, Harold's main force pressed in behind the wolf warriors. The shield walls clashed, splinters and steel filled the air, and Hafrsfjord became a churning sea of blood and broken ships. By the time the howls fell silent, Harold's enemies were fleeing. The fjord belonged to him, and with it the destiny of Norway. The victory at Hafrsfjord was more than a single battle. It was the turning point that allowed Harold Fairhair to claim the title of the first king of Norway. And at the very heart of that triumph stood the Ulfhednar, men who fought not as individuals but as a hunting pack, their legend echoing across centuries. For generations, Irish monks, English chroniclers, and Norse storytellers spoke of them. Some claimed they were immune to pain, others that they had sold their souls to Odin. All agreed on one thing: to face the Ulfhednar was to face death in its most terrifying form. These wolf warriors blurred the line between man and beast, between soldier and spirit. They were the embodiment of Viking psychological warfare, not just killing with blades, but conquering minds through terror. So next time you hear of beserkers, remember, there were also the Ulfhednar, the wolf coats. And on the cold shores of Hafrsfjord, their howls carried a king to glory. Follow for more history stories.